preserving the stories of heritage. It's the gem story that heritage does not die. Good afternoon and hello from across the world. We are welcoming you from one of the the 21st century gems. With a joint live streaming between Extra News and Qnews. We will welcome you before the official opening, the lights, the momentum, the active movement, the organization team, the international gathering. Each tells Egypt's story, Egypt that introduces Egypt's story, telling the truth. It's a hub for history and a destination for the future at the same time. Welcome, Aya, and to our viewers. Good afternoon. Here the story starts. From a land doesn't know coincidence. The culture doesn't lie or die. Where present and future meets, Egypt redraws its picture in front of everybody. It's not just a museum, it's a new promising between Egypt and its history, between the human and the stones speaking. Today, the place breathes the momentum of history in Egypt, opens a lightened word, names the Grand Egyptian Museum. Today, we are in front of a critical history in the history of culture and humanitarian culture. It's not a touristic destination. It's an international national project, embodies Egypt's vision to conserve its heritage and producing it to the next generation. Here, technology with history aligns with the pyramid symbolism in a great video, makes this museum a landmark on the path of humanitarian culture. Here, history starts. Laid its artifacts beneath the sand, discovered a culture still discovering, covering more, and left through miracles as witnesses, became a fourth miracle in the same place, a combination between authentic past and sophisticated present. King Ramses welcomes his guests. The Grand Egyptian Museum. This afternoon is the opening of GMM, which is an exceptional landmark in the culture of Egypt. It depends on the presidency. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is due to witness the opening with the participation of this 97 delegations with heads of leaders and heads of countries and governments. The president welcomed Egypt's guests from leaders and great symbols in the opening of GMM in Twitter. In Twitter, he said he confirmed that GEM lies in which lies the artifacts of Egypt, and indicated that the museum adds a new landmark around which gathers every interested in the unity of culture and peace values, kindness and gathering, and also expressed his hopes to everyone a good time in Egypt between history and present. Prime Minister Mustafa Mabouli welcomed his counterpart Nawaf Salam with official reception, and also Nawaf Salam is due to participate in the opening ceremony of JAM. In coincidence with the opening, Egypt issued golden and silver currencies with stamps embodying the greatness of this historic landmark, which is one of the most important museums in the world. These remarks is a landmark and a reminder of the unique history of Egypt. And during a press conference before the opening, Prime Minister said that the ceremony is an exceptional landmark. He added that JAM is an international hub as a present to the whole world with a history of more than 7,000 years, which is a symbol of Egypt's heritage that have a lot of historic landmarks. Also, Minister of Tourism and History and Antiquities said that the visitors are 5 million, and also on the margin of the remarks, the minister confirmed that Egypt has the largest museum for one culture. First of all, we are enlightening for the whole world and gives a great Egypt that museum has the largest museum in the world allocated to one heritage or culture. We are very proud with the Egyptian hands in cooperation with many authorities. We were able to make something everyone will speak about, and what you've seen is inauguration, pilot inauguration, and also before the complete opening, we have 5,000 visitors daily. Our expectations it will go up to 15,000, meaning 5 million a year. It will be a great addition to cultural tourism in Egypt. Moreover, I'd like to tell you that cultural tourism is reducing in a certain age. Thank God Egypt is different, and we have won some awards for that, and there was a great appreciation to President for this when conserving the projects concerning in this regard, and we had more than 1.5 million visitors in 2025 for the Egyptian artifacts, and this number will increase with time. And also we are accelerating building the hotels and the surrounding areas to cope with the momentum. In regards to the area now, you propose that this is not only a great hub, but also the whole region was desert. Now it's a touristic cultural investment area. How the government cooperated with the public sector to see this moment? Egypt, in regards with the cooperation in private sector in managing touristic and artifacts projects in Egypt is a new trend in the world being discussed in conferences, and we are proactive. Preserving the artifact is number one. Our main goal is preserving the artifact and benefiting from the surrounding area, using it in touristically. But preserving the artifact is number one goal, and our experience in pyramids we changed because we put the artifact first, then the touristic inflow next. Second, we cannot allow parking around the pyramids. We should have a systematic touristic experience, putting the artifact on top. The surrounding areas had a general plan with many with one of the global advisors, with the housing ministry and more than one authority. We're trying to dividing into hotels and other activities organizingly. It starts from Sphinx Airport to the shore. It covers all the area, and we've seen the first review, and we added comments, and we're the second, and the third review until we have a good general plan around pyramids and the museum. More follow-up, joining us from Jam, Iman Hawazi, the correspondent of the news and also news in this hour. Nada Rada, the correspondent of news. We'll start with Iman Al-Hawazi. Iman, let me ask you now, we are in the final preparations to start the Jam, the most important event. Last preparations from your end, Iman. Nancy, good afternoon, and good afternoon, Aya, and all your viewers. The atmosphere is very great. There is great preparations. It seems like the opening will be a tremendous view as usual in this regard from Egypt that always inspires everybody. There is a great attendance of news agencies internationally awaiting the moment of opening. In the last period, maybe there we followed up with you, and all Egyptians followed up the controversial around the idea or the idea of the opening a few moments away from the opening ceremony, and we will get to see it. Many leaders, kings, official delegations were invited to this ceremony, with agencies cooperating with Egypt, and also confirmed based on the presidency they're attending to this ceremony. It's also notable to mention that journalists and press agents from international agencies are tackling today and streaming the opening time and what will be reviewed and be showed in the ceremony in regards to this exceptional hub, which is the opening of this great hub. There's many messages. First of all, Egypt says through this opening ceremony that is an enabled country that able to preserve, reconstruct their artifacts and historic treasure with Egyptian hands, working in the biggest reconstruction center in the Middle East and Africa, the reconstruction center that more than 4,000 technicians and experts were working at from different artifacts. We're talking about mummies and others. The second message that Egypt wants to increase the international cultural awareness to Egypt's culture. Egypt says it opens its door before every researchers, experts, scientists to arrive, to inviting them here in a comprehensive, pioneering, digitalized experience to see what were reconstructed during the last period and how Egypt preserved its artifacts. Egypt also says that here, with our culture, with our history and future, we shed the light on what we have with collections. We also have, we shed the light with our powers of Egyptian hands worked for years. We're talking about the cornerstone that was put in 2002, for about 25 years. Egyptians worked in building this hub. Another message Egypt wants to relay that Egypt hosted the Sharm el-Sheikh event that showed amid mediator. Egypt says now that we are still in a regional international peace and a preparation moment to host such events, and delegations, kings and queens around the world just to celebrate our culture and what old Egyptian added to heritage, humanitarian heritage. Also, another message Egypt wants to relay is that we are committed to UN development sustainable vision, including digitalization, culture projects aligning with the environmental standards, the green environmental projects with solar systems and others, and everything in the entails in the environmental vision. And also, I just want to say that we want to include the youth and all segments of society around the world. The cultural tourism attracts a certain kind of visitors or guests, but with children holds, with the press conference, with the enhanced reality reflects what the system or what the hub entails, may attract more segments, many messages in establishing this great hub. Many treasure will be showed for the first time in this museum. I want to conclude with the concentration of the hero king called King Tutankhamun. Since the discovery of his tomb, no one was seen who has seen the treasure and collections of Tutankhamun in front of anyone since the discovery of this tomb. Thousands of these parts and artifacts were not showed, and it will be live streamed in this museum for the first time. Nancy, now the word is yours. Thank you for all of your information. And now let's move to Nada Rada. Nada concluded her talk with Tutankhamun, the hero of this today's show. How is everything around you now? Yes, of course, the countdown started to opening this the ceremony, and all eyes are on Egypt and now, and on the press conference, and then I cannot a press conference hub like journalism. When journalism agrees internationally, and internal journalism agrees, that is the biggest event in our modern era. We have to see it very confidently. Now we're in front of an exceptional moment, the opening of the biggest museum devoted to one culture. Let me tell you some points in regards to what journalists and international journalists said about this museum in the beginning. French news agencies said that's one of the most important museums in the world, and the biggest museums in the world, and described the museum's opening as the greatest in the 21st century. Le Figaro, an expanded report about the museum that Egypt inaugurates and opens the biggest museum in the history for one culture, and indicated to the architecture. It's about many kilometers away, some kilometers away of the pyramids, which will give the visitor a unique experience. Also, Le Monde News press said that museum will become one of the most visiting destinations, expected to attract about 5 million visitor a year. Also tackle the biggest museums. British museums also tackled the opening of the ceremony that is devoted to give the visitor a unique experience. And what distinguishes this museums, as Iman said, very important point in regards to technology and the modernizations presented in this museum and the VR. Now visitor will not only pass through artifacts but can use interactive screens and relive the experience, knows everything and related to this statue, like Tutankhamun, who discovered the tomb. How was it like before discovery? Everything the visitor wants to know about the artifacts in front of with the interactive screen. Also, the VR or the virtual reality will add with a unique experience in regards to the rounds, the museum rounds. Maybe Iman talked about Tutankhamun, and we cannot disregard King Ramses II that stands in pride, welcoming all the guests who ruled for 76 years. And also many artifacts present, and also the parade of Khufu and the vehicles of Khufu. Here in the museum, there is also a vehicle and a parade to Khufu as well, are being reconstructed currently. Many things do not wrap up the greatness of what Egyptians have done, and many reconstructors were due, and archaeologists and Egyptians. Now the word is yours, Nada. Maybe what we've seen around us now shows that we are gonna count down with a great show. Thank you, Dr. Nadarada, and as well as Iman Al-Hawezi. Thank you. كان المفروض يخرجوهم يقولوا لهم هيبقى في ترجمه ولا مش عارفين برضه. The Grand Egyptian Museum is an international museum that has various aspects that gave gifts to its visitors, and here we will tell the story of King Tutankhamun, one of the kings, and we now go to the story. I will tell you a story about a golden king that everyone has loved, the small pharaoh Tutankhamun, the magical king that took the focus of the whole world when his tomb was discovered. He has his special historical status and his distinguished place in the Grand Egyptian Museum. Tutankhamun was one of the kings of Egypt's 18th dynasty, and he ascended the throne at the age of 9. And the cause of his early death remains one of the most historically debated mysteries that scholars have tried to unravel. His tomb was discovered in 1022 in the Valley of the Kings by the British archaeologist Howard Carter, and this discovery caused worldwide media propaganda at the time, especially since his tomb and treasures were completely intact without any damage, and this one of the reasons he got famous.
and as if history wanted to immortalize him despite his early passing. The area dedicated to King Tutankhamun, the Grand Egyptian Museum, is one of the largest museum exhibition spaces. It includes two halls with his treasures, which are being displayed in full for the first time for the visitors. And the collection consists of 5,398 items and has a large area of 7,000 square meters. The two halls house the Golden King's artifacts, feature all the tools and methods that serve the historical storytelling of his life, presented in a modern panoramic style. His treasures, before being moved to the Grand Egyptian Museum, they were scattered across several museums. There were more than 2,000 pieces in the Egyptian Museum in central Cairo, and then 20 in the Luxor Museum, and a war period displayed in the Egyptian Military Museum. But the Grand Egyptian Museum will present some places from the Tutankhamun's collection for the very first time to the visitors. Among the Golden King's possessions to be displayed at the Grand Museum is his famous ceremonial chair, which was found in the passage leading to his tomb. It is a captivating piece of art, and it is inlaid with ivory, ebony, and gold. And at the center of the backrest is the sun disk, above which the god 9 enemies. And because the Grand Egyptian Museum is a world-class, unique museum, its administration has been keen to offer visitors everything that is rare and new, especially the lovers of the Golden King Tutankhamun. They are promised a chance to see all his precious antiquities and artifacts for the first time under one roof in one of the largest museums in the world. And to know more about the preparations and details, now from Cairo International Airport, we have Ibrahim Azad. And also for more updates, we're joined from Sphinx International Airport, Ayman Ahmad. Ibrahim, what's happening right now and what are the latest preparations with the ceremony coming up? We're just a very few hours away. Yes, hello. Here we see so much effort in security for the third day in a row, where it welcomes the participants, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Egyptians, to witness this most important event in the 21st century, this cultural event. We are talking here from the inside of here in the office. Actually, we have just received the air of Bahrain through one of the planes that came, and now he is on his way to the Grand Egyptian Museum, where we are now in Giza. And also there are maximal preparations that the Ministry of Civil Aviation has taken to facilitate the transportation for the participants in this grand event. Today we had our Prime Minister, Dr. Mustafa Madbouli. He came here to welcome his Lebanese counterpart, Nawaf Salam, that came along a Lebanese delegation, and this delegation had the Ministry of Housing, and also from the Lebanese side we had Nawaf, the Prime Minister, and there were also other officials and ministers that came to share this important and grand event with Egypt. And now in these moments, we're just a few minutes away, as you know. And as you know, the United Agency Data has said officially 2 days ago that it will give the broadcasting signal to tens, but even hundreds of media platforms. And here, if we talk about the hall that have to do with going abroad or arrival. Yes, these screens have started to broadcast what's happening in the Grand Egyptian Museum now. Now all the civilians abroad and also those who have arrived to Cairo now, they see large screens here in the Cairo International Airport, and maybe we have seen some of the celebrations from the Egyptian side that are in the Cairo International Airport witnessing this grand event now. And finally, we will shed some light on one of the most prominent guests here that have already arrived to Egypt, especially here in the Cairo International Airport, as one of the two destinations dedicated to hosting and welcoming the guests and the participants, of course, in addition to the Sphinx International Airport, which is the closer one to the Grand Egyptian Museum. We're talking about from Qatar. We have the Minister of Culture and also the Islamic Cooperation Organization, Ireland, Cameroon, Algeria, India, and also the Vatican. And we have the Minister of Culture here in the Vatican on behalf of the Father of the Vatican, and also he's also the Prime Minister in the Vatican. We're also talking about the President of the African Union that came through the Cairo International Airport coming from Djibouti, and also the Deputy of the Secretary General of UN, Nahal Saad, came from Barcelona, and also through Cairo International Airport from Tokyo. The special envoy for Prime Minister represented by Japan and heads a delegation from Japan, and also from the United Kingdom we have the Minister for Middle East Affairs all the way from London, and then also Saudi Arabia, UAE, and some of the Arab countries that are participating in this grand and marvelous ceremony that will be witnessed by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi in just a few hours. And of course we also have Libya that we have raised the flag of here in Cairo International Airport, and on the other side we're talking about a minute president that has arrived this afternoon through the Cairo International Airport to come together in this unforgettable event, in this marvelous and spectacular ceremony. These are breathtaking. This is a breathtaking atmosphere here, and we will go on our way now to share the Egyptians here in the Cairo International Airport to share the ceremonials through the screens that the United Agency has provided to witness this ceremony that will just be live in a couple of hours here from Cairo International Airport. Again, now back to my dear colleagues Aya Lotfi and Nancy Noor. Back to you again. To you, Aya. Thank you, Ibrahim. And now we go to Sphinx International Airport, and our correspondent Ayman Ahmad, welcome here, and of course the final preparations to welcome the final delegations that will be there in the Grand Egyptian Museum opening. Can you tell me about the latest updates for the awaited delegations and those who have already came, and also the facilitations that are offered so that they can have a seamless trip? Yeah, here everything is on maximal preparations, and the Sphinx International Airport is welcoming a large number of the delegations that will be participating in the ceremony today, and we will witness the opening in just a couple of hours. We know that we have a high-level delegation from Somalia and also Portugal, and also we are waiting for the arrival of Prime Minister of Spain, and also a high-level delegation from UAE, in addition to Jordan, and a number of delegations that Sphinx International Airport is getting ready to welcome today, and in just a couple of minutes, there are maximal preparations that the Ministry of Aviation has done to witness this historic event, the opening inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum. The Ministry of Aviation has the help of a lot of workers to facilitate their trip and make sure they have a seamless experience, hey, and to have them directed to their destination, the Grand Egyptian Museum. As we see here, there are screens that are provided through the Ministry of Aviation so that the Egyptians and non-Egyptians can share the celebrations here and to broadcast the ceremony live here through the screens. And in addition also to the signs that have pharaonic drawings and also some statues that the Ministry of Aviation has put so that we can embody this grand event that is just a few minutes away, and the Grand Egyptian Museum. And we're also talking that is maximal preparation when it comes to the security level. They are putting so much effort to facilitate the delegations' arrival to the Grand Egyptian Museum, and also the Egyptian administration has worked on broadening the desert road between Sphinx International Airport and to Jem, which is around 40 kilometers far, and so that we can facilitate their trips. And so maybe the delegations that are a bit late or haven't arrived yet, they have maybe depended on the Grand Egyptian Museum not being that far, and this is what Egypt has been preparing for throughout the past few years, so that they can facilitate the visitors' trips without any obstacles, and it takes a very short time, around 20 to 30 minutes, and then there is preparations all over the country that are putting so much effort and are doing their best so that they can have all the needed facilitations for the visitors that are expected to go higher in number here in the ceremony that will go live in less than 2 hours from now. The Egyptian presidency is very ready, and then there was a visit from the Minister of Aviation that came here to make sure that everything is ready and everything is going smoothly and perfect here in the Sphinx International Airport that was built soon so that it can serve this purpose. Yeah, as you have mentioned, majestic attendance, the delegations from all around the world are on their way to the Grand Egyptian Museum to witness this edifice and the greatness of Egypt's civilization. Thank you so much, Ayman Ahmed, from the Sphinx International Airport, and thank you also, Ibrahim Azzad. We had from Cairo International Airport, Nancy. But now from the Grand Egyptian Museum, we have Shireen Nagdi and Ramadan Al-Matani.
The beginning with Ramadan. What is happening there? With the moment of the official inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum approaching 30 minutes, and all delegations will arrive at this pathway we are standing in, heading to the Grand Egyptian Museum. These delegations of Brazil, Switzerland, and Lebanon, and delegations are coming one by one intensively for this long-awaited event, with the dark in the pathways and roads, and the perimeters of the Grand Egyptian Museum are now especially lit that is was prepared on trees and on roads, an artistic painting being portrayed on the perimeters of the Grand Egyptian Museum. The special preparations inside the museum, there were some final touches being placed for this grandeur event through the artistic displays and the holograms telling the stories and narratives of the ancient Egyptian civilization, which will be now displayed globally, choosing and selecting the artists from international bands, musical bands. A lot of events will take place in a few hours in the inauguration of the Grand Museum at the official level with the Ministry of Tourism and stated by the Minister of Tourism since the beginning of the day to place the final touches and to follow up each and every detail pertaining to the displays and the halls of the Egyptian Museum to be completely prepared for the ceremony. The complete and the hour by hour follow up stresses that there is no way for any mistake to happen. Everything is being perfectly placed even at outdoors in here in the hall, in the outdoor hall of the Egyptian Museum. There has been a lot of security preparations as 79 official delegations from all over the world are now taking these roads to arrive to the Grand Museum. Heavy security measures are put in place by the Egyptian police also to facilitate and streamline the transportations and provide easy passage for citizens from other alternative roads. And also there are long-awaited events that are going to take place as announced by the Egyptian government, and we will see different numbers to be presented in this ceremony before princes and kings and presidents and the special delegations and envoys from the League of Arab States, the United Nations, and all kinds of global organizations, with the attendance of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi to receive the delegations who already arrived 30 minutes ago and keep arriving at the special doors especially built to receive the guests. Yes, Ramadan, thank you so much for all the extensive information you have given us. Now we go to Shireen Magdi at the outdoor of the Grand Egyptian Museum. What are the preparations taking place at the moment to facilitate the entrance of the special delegations and for security of the perimeter? You have the details to you now, Shireen. Yes, Nancy, as you have mentioned, now from the perimeter of the Grand Egyptian Museum, a few steps for the museum, as we have seen in the previous minutes, we have seen delegations arriving in preparation for the long-awaited ceremony at 7 p.m. We have 79 delegations, 39 of them with the kings, princes, and presidents and prime ministers, which reflects the growing attention to the ancient civilization and the Egyptian cultural and heritage role. We have delegations from international institutions and organizations. We have seen the delegations passing from this road with a heavy security presence in the perimeter of the museum, given this high level representation waiting for the ceremony at 7 p.m. If we talk about the atmosphere and how is it looking around the museum or on the roads leading to the museum, the roads to be taken by the delegations, we see completely developed roads and high efficiency working roads to the museum. Here we're talking about the Alexandria Cairo road and from Sphinx Airport to the Ramaya Square, as well as the ring road from Maadi to Giza and the access of Mansouriya and Mariotia. All of these roads has been completely advanced by placing around 800 banners for kings of Egypt and the beautiful artifacts of the ancient Egyptian civilizations. Around 500 artifacts representing the ancient Egyptian lives has been placed in the Cairo Alexandria Desert Road and from Sphinx Airport to the Ramaya Square. We're talking about night lightings in the perimeters of the museums by advanced lighting systems, as trees and palm trees are now being lit on the ways and roads leading to the museum. The decorations include 4,000 trees, 1,200 palm trees, and 90,000 kilometers of green spaces based on modern irrigation technologies, as well as developing all the infrastructure surrounding the Grand Egyptian Museum, decorated by the flags of the participating states in the inaugural ceremony. Back to you, Nancy. Yes, thank you so much for all the details you provided us with. Shireen Magdi, the correspondent of the news sector. Now we have Rami Gabr, correspondent from Washington. Our correspondent Rami from Washington, the Egyptian consulate in Washington in particular, how are they celebrating this very important event? Hello, Aya. There is a state of happiness and pride spreading among Egyptians in Washington and all over the United States, whether in Washington, or New Jersey, California, or in Chicago, or even New York. There are special gatherings by Egyptians inside their homes to watch the opening ceremony of the Grand Egyptian Museum. Everyone here I've communicated with during the past few days to hold some interviews, they expressed a deep interest in this event, and even some people already traveled to Egypt to watch the event from up close from Egypt, to be actual participants in this joyous event. People have been living in the United States for more than 20 years and 40 years, but they are still very heavily attached to their mother homeland, Egypt, and they want to take part in this joyous day on the Egyptian soil. What I have been amazed by is the US media attention to this event, and in spite of all the internal issues, which is taking the attention of the internal media, including the economic crises and so on and so forth, all websites and media agencies and newspapers were very keen on um, making this event very prominent on their first pages. Actually, all media agencies and all media institutions are now celebrating Egypt and waiting for what is going to happen at the inauguration ceremony of the Grand Egyptian Museum. Thank you, Romy, from Washington. And now we move to Riyadh, where the Egyptian embassy is holding a special ceremony to celebrate the opening of the Egyptian Museum. We go to Gamal Wasif, our correspondent from Riyadh. Please tell us how Egyptians in Saudi Arabia celebrating this joyous moment. Certainly, it's a totally different scene. The celebrations of Egyptians living in Saudi Arabia on one side, and on the other side, the diplomatic mission of Egypt getting ready to receive high level officials from Saudi Arabia, as well as other states, as well, and also the Egyptian people, Egyptians living in Saudi Arabia are getting ready to celebrate this moment. We have heads of embassies and diplomats now represented at the Egyptian embassy in Saudi Arabia. The headquarters of the embassy is fully prepared and equipped by lighting systems, screens to cover the celebration taking place in Egypt with the local timing of Egypt. The ceremony will start at 8 a.m. At 8 p.m. Everyone will participate from Saudi Arabia to this event, as it's being heavily covered. Now we see even Egyptians living in Saudi Arabia wearing the ancient Egyptian costumes to celebrate this moment. Gamal Wasif, our correspondent from Riyadh, thank you so much. Now we move to Beirut. Ahmed Singab, our correspondent from there. The foreign media agencies shed light on the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum. Give us more details from Beirut. Certainly, the Lebanese street is now highlighting the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum. Everyone is waiting for the legendary opening of the museum. It is taking first pages and headlines of the Lebanese websites and newspapers. They have dedicated large portions of their platforms to waiting for this historic event to take place. The Nahar newspaper is calling it the Egyptian gift to the entire world, as the biggest open museum only allocated and dedicated to one civilization, which is the ancient Egyptian civilization. The Egyptian embassy has also prepared heavily to receive large numbers of Egyptians living in Lebanon in a special ceremony for the coverage of the events and proceedings of the grand opening. A lot of Egyptians living in Lebanon will be coming into the embassy to the headquarters to follow up the proceedings from here. The Lebanese streets are ready to see the events. Also, the Prime Minister Nawaf Salam has already arrived at Cairo to participate in the opening. Thank you so much, Ahmed Singab from Beirut. And let's now go to Ramallah. Wala Salamin, our correspondent. What is Palestine now saying about Egypt? How does Palestine watch and observe the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum? Of course, with the presence of President Mahmoud Abbas at the opening, it reflects the magnitude and importance of this event. We're talking about brotherhood, solidarity, and the common culture between Palestine and Egypt, whether with the Arabic language as a similarity or with the ancient history connecting the two countries. Also, what happened a week ago, and the peace summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, and all the efforts led by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, we're talking about all kinds of solidarity and collaboration between both countries, and the Egyptian efforts in the framework of stopping the aggressions of the Israeli state against Palestine, and all the aids provided by Egypt to Palestine to help alleviate the suffering of the Palestinian people. The reality is talking clearly about how Egypt is tackling the Palestinian cause and how Egyptians are handling the situation with love between the two brotherly people. All eyes now are directed to the TV screens to watch the openings, and I think that there will be more solidarity between both countries with the mutual visits and with the photos that we are going to be taken today. Thank you so much, Wala Salamin from Ramallah, from Jaipur. Thank you so much. The entire world is waiting for the grand opening of the Egyptian Museum, which is the most important event in a while for Egypt to witness since the opening of the royal parade to transport the mummies. The Egyptian civilization is still holding more and more secrets. The ceremony proceeds, and the entire ceremony will be broadcast at on our screens. During this hour, we have covered all aspects of the ceremony of the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum from the media center and by our correspondents abroad, following up what are Egyptians abroad doing to be prepared for the opening. I am honored to have taken place in this event, and of course I am especially proud to belong to this awesome civilization, and as a granddaughter or a grand of our ancient ancestors, we try to cover everything related to the opening on our screens. The ceremony proceeds and the coverage proceeds. It will be broadcast all over the media, the entire international media. Thank you so much.